right around. You got another great opponent coming.
It's going to be a physical Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears matchup. I live it. I take advantage of it. We just want to bring that fight. Our mindset is bringing that fight with every team we play, not just the Bears.
Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto. And now, to kick off your NFL weekend, this is Vikings Live.
Well, the Vikings' home schedule ends this weekend here at U.S. Bank Stadium against the Chicago Bears, but I think a lot of fans of the Purple really hope that their playoff push is only continuing as they get ready to take on Chicago. We're here to count you down to kickoff early on this Thursday for Vikings Live, alongside Ron Johnson and Ben Leber. I'm Hobie Artigue. And guys, last week heading into the game against Tampa, the playoff chances were already thin. But after this, they have to be razor thin at this point, Ron.
Yeah, I don't know how cliche we can get, but it's literally just win the next game. Like, that's what they have to do. Mike Zimmer said it. They're not into the math. They're not into the statistics. He doesn't care that they're a 28.74% chance of getting in the playoffs based off the strength of schedule and who the Rams play, who the Cardinals play. At the end of the day, you win, you handle your own destiny, and you hope that the Rams beat the Cardinals. That's the way it has to play out. Forget everybody else. Forget hoping the Bucs lose or something else and a tie between these two teams. Just don't care.
Yeah, they went into the game last week. If they won the game against Tampa Bay, they were 75% into the playoffs based on the rest of their schedule and the way that they're playing. And keep in mind, the Bucs are right there knocking on the door as well at the playoffs. So it's kind of a double win in that capacity. But you lose, and now all your playoff hopes really rely on winning every single game out. You cannot scoreboard watch. You cannot see, like Ron is saying, thinking about other teams. Oh, well, what are they doing? Can we afford to have a stumble and ask for help from other teams? No. You have to win this game, the next game against the Saints, and the season ender against the Lions.
And one of the biggest stumbles against Tampa, Ben, that was the kicking game with Dan Bailey as he enters a really tough stretch as the kicker for the Vikings. He's a big question mark. Career-wise, he's one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. That 86% all-time for field goals, that's top 11 in NFL history. He's also made 97% of his extra points. But look at these last two games, 33%, extra points 25%. And Ron, I know a lot of people, you hate to harp on one area of the game, but whenever it comes to missing some of these kicks, that really affected the offense as a whole. Where do you think Dan Bailey goes from here?
Yeah, it killed their momentum. I mean, if you think about it, you do all this against Tampa, you come out, you think you're going to have an early lead, and then it's 6 points. It's deflating as an offense as hard as you work to get there. And then for a guy that a lot of people say, all you do is kick, and then he misses it. So I think that's the tough thing.
Well, and the thing is, I think the frustrating part is I get a miss is a miss, just like a make is a make. But it's one thing when you're true right down the middle and you can kind of build confidence. And you're like, oh, yeah, no doubt that was going in. But if you miss by a little, that's one thing. He misses by 20 to 25 yards either direction on his misses. They're absolute flat misses. And it's not just a little tweak. It looks like a major tweak that he has to have with his swing. So I think going into this game against the Bears, yes, you let him kick anything inside 40, and hopefully he gets his swing back, he gets his confidence back. Anything outside of that, I think you have to go for it on fourth down.
That was a glaring weakness in that game against Tampa. Another one, especially in the last two games, is protecting Kirk Cousins. Over the course of the last two games, the Jaguars game and the game against the Bucs, the Vikings have given up 10 sacks. Ben, is that a problem with offensive line, quarterback hanging onto the ball too long? Where does that factor in?
Well, a lot of that stuff is a team thing. You look at where these sacks are coming from, more so in the second half of these ball games. And what's happening is, the defense is giving up some points. The offense is getting worn down a little. The offense becomes a little bit more one-dimensional. And that's when defenses can really feast. They can pin their ears back. They can start bringing some blitzes. And the offensive linemen are communicating too much or not communicating enough. They're all out of sorts. And that's when they're getting their sacks. And so it is imperative in this game that they stay on top of the Chicago Bears, and they stay on schedule, as they might say, get an early lead, make them one-dimensional. If we fall anywhere behind or we're close in the second half with this front seven with the Bears, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you just got to fix it. I mean, that's all I can say. You look at the 5 weeks prior to these last two you speak of, 7 sacks. 7 sacks in 5 weeks. Kirk was all-world, player of the month, numbers type stuff, Mr. November. like you said, 10 sacks in the last 2. Now, the one good thing is he's only 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in the last 7 weeks. So at least Kirk's not panicking when he's getting hit, but he has to stop fumbling and letting the ball go. I know it's pocket presence, but again, like Ben said, with this front seven, especially Khalil Mack, you got to let the ball go, and you cannot afford a strip sack fumble for a touchdown. That's how you lose this game.
Well, the Bucs had a tough front. The Bears also have a tough front, too. They had, the Bucs, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Dalvin Cook still rushed for over 100 yards. But the last time against the Bears, Akeem Hicks, if you recall, he left in the second half of that game. With Akeem Hicks on the field, Dalvin Cook was held to that. 19 carries for 39 yards. Without Hicks in the game, he went for 11 carries for 57 yards. Ron, we saw it last week. Dalvin Cook, I think a lot of people kind of had tampered expectations, if you will, because no one had cleared 60 yards individually against them. With a game like what he had against the Bucs, does that give you confidence getting ready to face the Bears?
Yeah, well, one, they're going to see a similar defensive front. They're going to see a similar team come after them in pressure-wise. But, I mean, Akeem Hicks, have you ever looked at him? He's scary. Like, literally. Like, I am scared. If I was quarterback, I'd be scared. And so what Kirk Cousins is going to have to do is pray that Bradbury can drop his anchor and help with the double teams, because if Akeem Hicks can scrape and do all the stuff he does, he's tough. And then when he gets his game is angry. So you've seen him and Dalvin Cook getting to it. When he gets angry, he's tough, even more tough to stop. And so the key is going to be maybe run outside and then use Akeem's momentum, because at that size, he can't cut back and then cut back off of his back. That's going to be the key.
Well, you look at the defensive similarities and differences, and yes, they're both very aggressive. Now, the Bears are going to show a little bit more true 3-4 front. So you're going to have 2 defensive tackles on the guards and a guy over the center, and then you're going to have those 2 overhang outside rush players as well. It really makes it difficult to combo block up to the second level. So you're asking our front line guys, who are much smaller, although athletic, to go one-on-one with this beastly front. And like Ron is saying, Akeem Hicks is a scary, scary dude, and he's a gigantic person. To one-on-one block him on the inside, we don't have a guy that can do it consistently. Yeah, we might get by 1 or 2 snaps out of 10, but not 8 out of 10, and that's where you find success.
All right, well, speaking of the Bears, Chicago's offense, it will look a little bit different this game compared to last, because they found new life with an old familiar face under center, and that's Mitchell Trubisky taking the reins again. And for more on that Mitchell, we go to ours, Dawn Mitchell, with more on what the Bears quarterback is bringing to the table Sunday. A lot of people, Dawn, think that this Mitch is the 2.0 version.
You know, absolutely. Many say, hey, Mitch Trubisky has been resurrected and he's playing well. And that has been the case last week. But he also says now he's playing in an offense that he has a say in. He and Bill Lazor, who now calls the offensive shots, have been working together and playing to his strengths. And yes, he's coming off a great game last week, of course. And he's coming off that game where he just crushed the Texans in the first half, throwing for 3 touchdowns and an early 30-7 lead. But let's be honest, it was against the Texans, one of the league's worst defenses. Now, Trubisky, we know, he was mobile. He's good off play action, and now has the Bears utilizing that rookie tight end, Mr. Cole Kmet. But he does play well. But does that mean that he's new and improved? Or is he just the same Trubisky that the Vikings have known, with a team playing to his strengths and strengths he's had already?
He looks like he's like the Trubisky that we've played in former years. You know, if you go back and you look at what they did offensively from the time he's gotten there, it still looks like the same guy, you know, and the offense is still the same. And, you know, the element that he brings, then when we play him the first time, is that he can make plays with his legs. He can extend plays. He can throw on the run. And when he has the ball and he breaks the line of scrimmage, then he's like a running back with the ball in his hands.
Now, on a different note, the Vikings honoring one of their own teammates for his inspiration this week. The team naming linebacker Cam Smith their Ed Block Courage Award winner. And as we know, Cam underwent successful open heart surgery back in August and has since amazed everyone with his recovery, including his surgeons and medical team. This award is voted on by his peers, who have been emotionally inspired by him. They say he's not missed a practice, a walk-on, a meeting, anything team-related. And Cam doesn't just show up, he shows out. He's an active member of the team, and he has a goal to play again in the NFL and hopefully even next season.
This blew me away. I was not expecting it.
And I mean, it's still kind of hasn't really sunken in yet, but it's an honor.
Seeing him on the side of the field running sprints and the fight that guy has and the love for the game, and to continue to be in the locker room, continue to be in the meetings, and continue to have that brotherhood with guys on the field when he's not able to physically be on the field. It's amazing, and I'm super excited for him to receive that award.
Having told him personally about his diagnosis and what was going to come ahead for him, to watch the way that he has attacked this process and really astonished even his surgeon with the way he has recovered. It's going to be really fun to watch him hopefully play next year.
Cam is also very well often the first person at practice, the first person anywhere. And when I asked him today what is his inspiration, he says other people who have survived what he has gone through, that gives him strength. And yes, he has that goal to play next year. Back to you.
And Don, thank you very much. Whenever you look at Cam Smith, his teammates, they'll be chasing Mitchell Trubisky, Ron, a guy who's kind of found new life here, especially thrown to Allen Robinson.
Yeah, and what you'll see here in the plays, Mitchell Trubisky is doing a pretty decent job actually recognizing coverage. I'm surprised. So when you look at this coverage, it's just cover 6. You're going to have quarters to one side, and then he sees 3-by-1. Allen Robinson now is in a man, but like a 2-man. So he's going to take 3 quick steps. There's no pocket pressure because he's getting rid of the ball quick, and you see that. Look at the pocket. He does not ask to block for a long time. He knows 6'3" versus 5'11". I'm throwing it up, back shoulder. Allen Robinson's going to be tough to stop.
Like you against me, man.
Oh, yeah, when Don was our quarterback. And then here you're just going to have a simple RPO. It's not really RPO. It's literally just a play action. The play action is going to force these linebackers to step up, and as minute they step up, he knows I have the slant. Allen Robinson does a good job hesitating at the top of the route and then in cut. Safety makes a terrible angle trying to make the tackle, maybe because he doesn't want to get a Harrison Smith type flag, but terrible angle, and that's what you get.
Also, you look at this Bears defense, Ben. We've talked about Akeem Hicks. It seems like every single week we do a show before the Vikings and the Bears face off. But they had 7 sacks last week against Houston, and with the Vikings' troubles, there could be another tough one in store come Sunday.
Yeah, and Hicks is a game wrecker when he's in there because he is so big and physical, and the way that they move him around, and he's such a big man, and the fact that he can move is impressive, as you'll see here. He gets inside quickly, and then watch the leverage that he gets with his hands. That's just one hand. That's not 2 hands. That's one hand getting that separation, and you can see how he can get to the football. Now watch how these guys move on the next play. He's going to come all the way across the line. The offensive line is going to get their count. They're going to say, okay, let's go. We got these 3 guys over here. All right, yeah, we're all good. Now, on the snap of the ball then, everything sort of changes now. Now he's going to go across basically the whole formation and attack and then single up. See how he attacks the center and gets him to go cross-face, and then all of a sudden now you get single blocks on the right side, and you get that speed, you blitz from depth, and you show that tenacity that those guys all show on snap after snap, and it just throws off the count. It throws off your steps and your communication. Those guys know how to work all together as a trio all across the front.
A tall task for Mike Zimmer. And speaking of the head coach, he is the guest tonight here on Vikings Live. Paul Allen goes one-on-one with Mike Zimmer when we return here from U.S. Bank Stadium.
Vikings Live. Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
Well, this is the time of the show where we usually have a player spotlight, but for our final Vikings Live of the season, that's changing a little bit. That's because Paul Allen catches up with the head coach, Mike Zimmer, a guy who's molded quite a few good players in purple. Here's more with PA.
Yes, Hobie Artigue. It is a Zoom with Mike Zimmer, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. And with 3 games to go in the regular season, Coach, what has the fanless, injury-filled vibe been like this season? I mean, has it been tough?
Yeah, it's been extremely difficult, but yeah, all the protocols and, obviously U.S. Bank Stadium not having our fans. But, our guys have done a great job, I think, of handling all the different scenarios and, got a chance to still do some damage here these last 3 weeks.
Now, with your rookie corner, Jeff Gladney, from the beginning to now, what have you seen?
Well, he's improved tremendously as far as knowledge and seeing different things and reaction times. He got turned around against Indianapolis on, I think, T.Y. Hilton, but he's been playing really well. He's a really tough kid. The rest of the team really likes him a lot. The way he goes about his business, the way he plays on Sundays.
Mike, I know you're very fond of Dalvin Cook, the person. As the player, what do you genuinely appreciate about his approach?
I think the biggest thing with Dalvin is his commitment to the rest of the football team. He was nicked up a few weeks back, and he wasn't going to miss. And I think it's all about being committed to the rest of the team and really how hard he runs and how physical he is for not a big guy.
Now, you have had Harrison all of your head coaching career. What qualities does he possess that permits you to run defense the way you want? Harrison Smith, not Hand.
Yeah. Harry is a very, very smart person. He's one of those guys that you can talk to him about certain things, about adjusting coverages, playing different. I remember we were in Chicago one year way back, and they threw a little ball on him on a sideline and missed a tackle. And, all I had to do was kind of give him this look. He's very hard on himself, and but he's very, very intelligent, and he sees things very quickly. So his reaction time to different plays are very good.
Now, the Chicago Bears, for the home finale, they just beat Houston by 29. What's better about them from when you beat them on Monday Night Football?
Well, they're a little bit different. They still have great defensive players. Offensively, Trubisky is back in there. And each week is a little bit different. Against Detroit, they were a little bit more taking the tight end and bringing him back. Against Houston last week, there were more bootlegs, movement passes. So I think they just are starting to get a good feel for what he handles and what the rest of the offense can handle. They've got Mooney in there a lot more now. He gives them some speed to get down the field, and Robinson's still a great receiver. And with the tight ends, Komet and
Graham,
they do a great job.
Now, Darnell Mooney, just another one of those outstanding rookie receivers from that 2020 draft. You have the best, at least as of now, Justin Jefferson. And we rarely hear you describe players the way you do Justin, with very glowing commentary. What is so impressive with Justin to you?
When he first got here, you could tell like the first day, this guy's different than everybody else. He's a big, long athlete. But the thing that I notice the most is he's able to, his hands are so strong. He catches everything. There's not been many receivers that I've ever been around that will win contested catches like he does. And he loves to play. He comes out here and practice all the time. He's excited about it. And, so we're glad we have him.
Now, lastly, and just to be clear, so you're not mistaken, Cordarrelle Patterson is a great kick returner, not just good. That's accurate, right?
That is accurate. He's the best in the league.
Maybe in the history of the NFL, and for that to be, I mean, you're more than good. You're great, right?
Yeah, he's great. No
Hopefully
doubt.
you're able to shut down Cordero and everybody this weekend. Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right, Paul. Have a good day.
Happy holidays, buddy. Hobie Artigue, Mike Zimmer, Miller Lite Coach Spotlight.
We still have much more to come here on Vikings Live. We'll give you our Vikings keys to victory as they continue to chase the playoff spot. And look at Thursday Night Football between the Chargers and the Raiders. That's coming up next here on Fox 9's Vikings Live. That was pretty.
To Vikings Live. Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
Time now for the final words eye view of the season. And from the seats as you look at US Bank Stadium, we go to Paul Allen before the Vikings host the Bears.
Happy holidays, Hobie. And the words eye view for this week is an ode to the fan, as in Vikings fans. You see, Sunday was supposed to be Fan Appreciation Day. Sadly, the team played to an empty building all season, which means the best fans in the NFL didn't get the opportunity in person to see best rookie in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook and all those TDs, Minnesotan Adam Thielen with all those TDs, and Eric Kendricks, one of the best linebackers in the NFL. They'll all be there for you next season, and we can't wait to see you. So on behalf of the Vikings, happy holiday season. Hopefully it's filled with peace and joy. Hobie?
Thank you, as always, PA. Here's a look at the standings in the NFC. A change at the top. The Packers, after clinching the NFC North, now the number one team in the NFC. But look at the bubble. There are both the Vikings and the Bears sitting at 6 and 7. Sunday's matchup, a crucial one for both of these teams. A win gets you closer. A loss only makes things that much tougher. Time now for our Vikings keys to victory. And Ron, we've said it pretty much all season long that this could be a must-win game for the Vikings. That will certainly be the case against Chicago. How do they get it done?
Well, I think first you want to give them favorable looks when you see the RPO. Make Mitchell Trubisky have to hand the ball off. He hasn't done well at that. He deciphering when he should keep it, when he should give it. That was the reason why they benched him. Now teams are saying, hey, let's let him throw, and then you see what happens last week. So I think, you know what, let them run a little bit. See if they actually have a run game, and then force them to throw in third and long.
You know, and I think for us, on our offensive side of the ball, we are so good with our play-action pass. But I think this is a game where you get away a little bit from the complementary play-action pass, because what happens is the quarterback has to then look down and take his eyes off of the defense in that moment to sell the play action if he's going to stay in the pocket. Now, if he's going to go boot and all that stuff, that's a whole different thing. But inside the pocket play action pass throws, nah. I think you go more traditional more traditional drop back so you can see the defense, you can see the rush come at you. And if you have to make a quick decision, then you can dump it off.
Maybe some passes to Justin Jefferson would work. I guess we'll find out on Sunday. Speaking of Justin Jefferson, he's in the running for Rookie of the Year. Fellow Rookie of the Year candidate, though, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They face the Raiders tonight. Las Vegas, a team that's still in the hunt for a playoff spot. Ron, who do you like in this game? Ben, who do you like?
Well, I like the Raiders because they are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They beat teams that they shouldn't beat, and then they get blown out by teams that they should beat. So I think tonight, though, is a night where they can confuse Herbert a little bit. You look at the way that defense is. And then, of course, they still have Carr, so he's going to sling it.
Yeah, this game for me is going to come down to Austin Eckler as he's come back from injury. He's getting better and better each and every game, and he's facing a Raiders defense that's 30th in the league in yards given up per carry. So I think get him going and get Herbert going. I think Chargers win.
I think the Chargers pull it off, too. Ben, close game between these two last.
Presented by Miller Lite.